Is the Vx1000 dead in skateboarding today? That is the question we're going to tackle in this video. We're going to take a look at VX versus HD here too, because as someone that's been uploading to YouTube for probably about 12 years, I've made edits on a VX1000, and I've also made edits HD, so I have a lot of experience with both, so I figure I'm the perfect person to tackle this subject. I'm going to take a look at kind of the history of it, and I'm not going to touch too much on that because there's other videos on YouTube. I'm just going to kind of scrape that surface. I'm going to talk about the cost of each of them, my experiences with both of them, and talk about the looks of each camera, because that seems to be a huge debate. So without further ado, let's dive in. And I first found out about the VX when I came across this video called You Are Only Dreaming. This video was uploaded in 2009. It was the first VX video that I came across, and I remember watching it thinking it had a very specific look to it, and it just grabbed my eye. After I got done watching You Are Only Dreaming, YouTube had recommended this other video called GX1000. That was a video from 2014, and that was the next video I saw. And it had that same look to it, and from there, I fell down this rabbit hole of several VX videos to the point of me doing research and me ending up buying one probably a handful of years later. And I'm going to kind of scratch on that a little bit later on in the video. Now I want to talk about the cost of the VX1000. When I first got my VX, the prices were around $300 to $400. And I remember if you saw one less than that on eBay, it was being sold for parts. And the more expensive they were, I believe, the nicer they were. And every now and then there was someone trying to rip you off. But as the years have gone on, these prices have seemed to bounce all over the place. Like if you go on eBay right now to look at a VX1000, here's one for $1,000. Here's $545, $405. $237, $449, $450, $279, $617. Now, this is just a big collage of them. Some of these are for parts. Some of these are in Japanese. Some are actually fairly new that actually work. Some come with a lens on it already, so they've made it be about 600 bucks. And that's the other end of the VX1000. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, I could probably save up money for a little bit, get myself a VX. But this is where it gets hard today, because just recently, the Barracks put out a video called Saving the VX1000 Fisheye Lens, because these lenses have kind of gone extinct. And then now when people are selling them, the prices for an MK1 are just ridiculous. And I remember when I first got mine, it was like a $400 lens. And that's because the demand for these lenses have gone up, but it went up at the same time that they decided to get rid of them. And the person who made these decided to kind of bring everything back together and start making them again once he saw the demand. And you can go right on the Century Optics website, and they have it listed here for about $1,600, which is a lot of money for just a VX1000 lens. And you're probably saying, well, you know what? I can just go buy a cheaper fisheye. But then you've totally got rid of that look that everybody loves about the VX, which I'll get into later on in this video. So if you go on eBay to look for a VX1000 MK1, you can see the prices are just $2,800, $3,400, $2,500, $1,000, $2,100, $2,200, $3,200, $5,000, $2,500, $6,000, which is insane to me because you can just go and buy a fresh one right out the gates on the website for $1,600. One other quick thing about the cost of the VX1000 is you have to buy tapes in order for it to work, right? So you can buy a pack of 3 tapes for $35, or you can buy a pack of 6 for $60. And that's quite expensive after you've filmed a handful of times. I mean, sure, you can break it up and there's 60 minutes per tape, but that cost adds up every time you film. So it starts costing you more money just to go out and have fun with your friends. Obviously, it's another story if you're out filming for a skate company, but for doing this for fun as a hobby, then it's going to start adding up in your wallet. Another thing that comes with the cost of owning a VX1000 is the capture camera. Now, you can find these anywhere from about 50 to 60 bucks on eBay, and you just get a little mini DV tape camcorder so that when you import the tape, you're not actually like ruining the heads on your VX, because if you run through those heads, then you're gonna have to get the heads repaired, and that's another cost. Now, having a cheap little DV camera to capture the footage right to the computer is nice, but after a while, the heads on that, and even the heads on the VX1000 start to get dirty. You have to buy a head cleaning tape. Now, this is probably the least expensive thing on a VX1000, so that is the nice part about it. But you can quickly see how these little things start adding up, and there's probably things like the light that I haven't mentioned yet, about $35. But that you can kind of hold on to forever, but there's little costs that come up throughout owning a VX1000. One other quick thing about the cost I didn't mention is that now people are starting to find ways to capture the VX1000 footage through either their phone or through another device you can attach to your VX1000 to go totally tapeless, so you never have to invest in tapes. But this little part is quite an investment in itself, and they're really rare to come across. So that's another thing that goes into the cost. Kind of put a wrap on the cost of the VX1000. Originally, you could get a VX plus an MK1 for maybe close to the $1,000 range, maybe like just under that. But nowadays, if you're looking to do this, you're going to be looking closer to maybe like the $2,000 range, maybe even $2,500 depending on the lens that you get. Now I'm going to talk about my personal experience with the VX1000 since I've had it. Through the years, I've had a lot of friends that have had it, and I've seen a lot of different issues come up. Issues that I have not personally had, but through skateboards hitting the camera, you'll have to send them in, get it worked on. There'll be like different colors through the lens. There'll be different parts of it that just go out because of how old the camera is. And I've seen this happen, but I think the goal here is the more you take care of it and the less boards that hit it, the more likely you're going to be fine. And that has been my experience with it. I think I have one issue on my VX where you open up the viewfinder and then it just stops working when it's all the way open. But that's okay. That doesn't really affect me too much. I can still use the camera. I know people that have had the audio go out on theirs, and that's a reason why a lot of people really love the VX, including myself, is because in my experience, the audio on the clips has been very good. It's a very crispy audio. And there's another company called Wooden Camera that sells an audio piece just like it. But I saw a comparison video, and the VX1000 mic still beats it. So that's another good part of it. But I've had a lot of fun with it, just being able to throw a tape in it and then get it going and just turn a few dials, hit record. It's nice. I've also had a few times where I thought I was going to trip on a crack and then drop it or break it. And that's one of the most scary parts of having a VX, is that the entire time you're filming, you're just hoping that you're not going to ruin it because of how hard they are to get and because of how hard they are to get repaired. And sometimes even when they get repaired, I've had it where the camera comes back and there's another issue after it being repaired. As it's an older camera, there's going to be a lot of problems that can come up throughout the time of having it. Through filming, I've had times where I've accidentally recorded over another clip because of the old technology. You can just do that by accident. Or I've had it where the clip glitches mid-clip, and then it's like someone's ender or a really important clip, and then you have to either make them redo it or you just can't go back. And that's probably one of the worst parts that I completely hate about owning a VX1000. Another thing in my experience with it is once you've actually imported the clips and you go to edit them, these clips are actually pretty hard to edit because of the bitrate being so low. There's not much adjusting on the exposure or contrast and things like that. So if you've filmed a clip really dark, you can boost it, but it's going to look really bad and kind of blow out the clip, and it's going to look so much different than the rest of the clips. So as far as editing VX1000 clips, it's not very productive, but is it fun to make edits with the VX1000? Yeah. Let's do a quick discussion on the looks of the VX1000, because this is something that people constantly talk about. Through my time, I've brought this conversation up to a lot of friends, and a lot of people, quite frankly, can't explain why they like the VX1000. They just say, oh, it's the original camera. Oh, it just looks cool. No one really has given me a detailed answer on this. And to be quite honest, I don't know that I have that detailed answer, but I do want to talk about why people like this. And I think it's because that's where the root of skateboarding started, with videos like the GX1000 video. And it has that wide fisheye look to it when you have the MK1 on there. That looks really nice. You can get real close to the skater, and it just kind of presents itself in a very pleasing way. And I do love how it has a little zoom rocker on it, so you can kind of punch in and out and get that nice slow zoom. So that part of it looks really nice. Something about the square, kind of a little grainy look. I think it's kind of like the same concept as people still enjoying 35mm film today, right? It's kind of got that old school look, and skateboarding's obviously been around forever, so it's kind of cool that we're in 2022 still retaining that old look. Now let's talk about HD a little bit. The first time I saw a high definition skateboarding video was the Girl in Chocolate video, and I think most of us can agree on that. I remember opening up iTunes, and the video opened up widescreen, and I just paused it right there. I was like, there's no way. I think it was that staircase clip that I saw that it opened up on, and then there was like a drone shot and everything. I started noticing some of my friends in real life starting to film skateboarding like on their DSLRs over at the skate park. They're posting edits with them, and those two things were enough to inspire me to kind of switch over to HD. Now let's talk about the cost of filming HD with skateboarding. The first thing that I want to talk about is filming with your phone. This is the most popular. Everybody does it. We all film clips of our friends at the skate park or at the spot and post to Instagram. That's great. But if you want to actually take filming seriously with your phone, there's ways to do it. And you can film long lens, putting your phone sideways like that. One of my friends named Corey has this company called Trabajando, and he sells this mini VX1000 second edition fisheye for only $50. And it really gives the look of the original MK1 fisheye on your phone. Once you put this fisheye on, you can open up the Depth Lens app and film it in there, and it gives you a lot of adjustments. See, it really pulls off the look, and I'll show you guys a clip right here just to prove that. So you can quickly see how that represents the MK1 fisheye, and it has a similar look to the VX, minus a little bit of the grain. But you know what? None of us really notice the grain on Instagram anyway. Why not have a really nice looking fisheye clip? Another way to film HD skateboarding is with a GoPro, but these tend to run in the $350 to $500 range, and usually the lens isn't the best on those, and the audio is just very subpar. So I don't recommend that. But this is where I want to help people out. So when you're first starting out, you can buy something like a very cheap basic DSLR, maybe something like this Canon 4000D that runs for like $500. And then you can get yourself like a $200 Rokinon fisheye. And that was what I first started out with. And to be honest, it worked out great. I used it for like the first 3 or 4 years I filmed skating. And then I ended up buying like a $50 microphone. So I think I was just like under $700 altogether. As you begin to use a cheaper setup, they begin to get a lot of wear, and then you want to buy the next setup. Or you can just jump the gun and get a nice setup right away. My current HD setup is a Canon EOS R, and then I have the Canon 8mm fisheye on it, and I have a 24 to 105 on it for my long lens stuff. Altogether, just on lenses, you're going to be looking at probably close to a couple thousand, plus camera body, which to get a decent camera body now is anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,000. So if you want to get yourself like a nice, good DSLR setup for filming skating, you're going to be looking at maybe like the $3,000 to $4,000 range altogether, and maybe even $5,000 with some extra lenses. Audio is always going to be the cheapest thing here. You can always get yourself a nice microphone on it, anywhere from like the $50 to $150 range, and get some good sounding audio. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, Max, that's like the most you've mentioned in this video. Why would I go spend that, right? Well, my reasoning for that is because you're going to have this setup that costs you that amount of money for a very long time. And skateboards are going to hit it a couple times here and there, but it's not going to totally ruin your setup the same way it would ruin a VX. It might take like 10 hits or so for it to totally smoke out your camera, but if you're getting hit that many times, you might need to like reconsider what you're doing filming. This is going to be a setup that you will not have to keep investing in unless like little parts are breaking for some reason, which I haven't really experienced. I've had this setup now for like 5 years, and it's been great. Another thing that's really nice about spending the kind of money on an HD setup is that not only can you film skateboarding, but you can go film other stuff too in other avenues and make money outside of filming skateboarding. I don't know too many people nowadays that are going to call you to film like a VX video unless that's like the look they're going for. So it can kind of like help inspire you to get other ideas. You can go even shoot photos with it, or maybe you don't have one that does photos. You can just go film other stuff. So that's another great reason to invest in an HD setup. Let's talk about the overall looks. I kind of already scratched on this when I talked about the iPhone, but everyone already knows how an iPhone looks. But you can kind of, like I said, get that VX1000 look if you're going to consider buying that Trabajando fisheye. I think that's a great look for social media and for putting something out there that you don't want to spend a ton of money on. You can make different edits on YouTube with that. There's a lot of like adjusting you can do with editing and post. The main thing here is I think this has become the main look as far as skateboarding nowadays. You go on sites like Thrasher, who almost every upload is an HD video. I think Transworld is the only one that still consistently has VX edits popping up. Not to say that there aren't VX edits on Thrasher. Here and there, they do post VX edits. But having this very crispy picture and having the assortment of different lenses to be able to like film skating from different distances without destroying your equipment, things like that, have made this HD look more popularized. The nice thing about HD camera is whatever you're shooting on, you can kind of always play with the settings a little bit in post and kind of adjust it to how you want it to look, even if you shot something wrong, whereas like the VX, there's not really much coming back in post because of the old technology. I think too, another thing with the looks is there's different fisheyes you can get for HD cameras, right? So there's like the depth lens. You'll see people throw on like a red camera, and that one has a really nice wide look to it. But you know what, to be honest, I don't know that I really like that depth lens look. I currently have the Canon 8mm fisheye, and it can be as small as like a little circle to zooming in, so you have that nice little VIG on it. And I've seen a lot of videos that look like that, and I think that's the most popular fisheye to use. And that is my favorite look. As far as my experience with an HD camera, I've really enjoyed my time with it. I think it's nice that I can go film a clip and not think I have to go buy a new SD card afterward, or I don't have to think about my camera breaking because of a board hitting it. Kind of puts my mind at ease while I'm filming. I personally own what's called an Easy Handle, and oddly enough, it's made my job of filming so much easier because it kind of counterbalances the camera. But they stopped selling these like years and years ago. So unfortunately, I'm not going to talk about how much they cost or where to get them because you can't get them anymore. But there's different things you can buy for your camera. Like there's little top handles you can buy on the internet. Like this U-Rig aluminum universal. That makes your experience filming a lot easier. I've also just enjoyed being able to have kind of the wider screen to show more while I'm filming and find ways to kind of be able to show the ramp and show the skater at the same time while still making it a nice looking image. Because with the VX, I always felt like I was losing a lot of the image since it's a square. So that kind of keeps me more creative. On top of this, I have my own business filming other stuff. So through filming skating, it's led me into other opportunities. So I've really had nothing but a really good experience with it. I think I've only had a couple times where I forgot to plug in my mic, so I had no audio on the clip. That bummed me out. But other than that, I've yet to like lose footage. So overall, is the Vx1000 dead when it comes to filming skateboarding today? You know what? I don't think so. I think there's always going to be a market for it. There's always going to be more people that want it, different skate companies that want people to film with it. So it's going to be alive no matter what. The prices are going to be that thing that's always going to be jumping up and down. But is the VX1000 becoming less popular on like YouTube? I think so. I've seen less VX1000 edits these days. And there's probably going to be people commenting that are going to say, well, didn't you see this edit? Didn't you see this? And show me a billion VX edits. And that's okay. I think the high definition stuff when it comes to like skate YouTubers or comes to, like I said, other Thrasher edits or even like a lot of the Barracks edits, some of the Transworld edits are even HD. So it's becoming more popular than what it once was. And I think it's taking over a lot of the VX stuff. There's just so much more technology you can add to HD. Like you can add a drone, all sorts of different equipment. You can do different like color correction, stuff like that. Hopefully this video all makes sense. I was going to kind of script this out, but I decided to go more impromptu with it and kind of share my thoughts as I was thinking about it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. There's going to be some stuff that I might have missed. So I'm probably going to make another video talking about this stuff if you guys enjoyed it. But if you did, hit that subscribe button and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.